Here with former Chicago Steel forwards Sam Colangelo and Robert, a.k.a. Ducky, the Duckman, Mastrosimone. This is a little bit of a NHL draft synopsis, if you will. So this is going to be our first episode today. I'm Mark Citron, voice of the Chicago Steel. What's going on, guys? How's college right now?
It's going well. It's a little different than what we had last year. Feels like we should be playing games in like 2 weeks, but we know that's not happening as of now. So we're just kind of taking it day by day here, but everything's good.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's pretty different than I expected for my freshman year, but I'm just kind of taking it one day at a time, and hopefully it gets a little bit more normal soon. But obviously it's a pretty cool experience right now.
Definitely is. And Robert, yeah, you got to experience college without, with the extracurricular stuff going on. Before we get into the draft stuff, what would your advice be as far as NCAA in terms of getting used to the playing style for a guy like Sam Colangelo? Because obviously he's a bigger body and whatnot. But what would your advice be first and foremost transitioning to NCAA hockey?
I think mainly just listen to the older guys on the team. They've been through it for a few years. They know what to do. They've made the transition. They've played a few years. They got a ton of games under their belt in college hockey. So really just listen to what your older guys and your leaders are telling you to do, and I think that's where you're just going to get most of your success out of.
And Robert at Boston University, Sam Colangelo at Northeastern University, respectively. So Sam, as far as the on-ice stuff that's going on, is it sort of similar maybe to last year? Is there anything different? What have you guys been doing over there?
We actually haven't skated yet, so I can't really answer that one. But I think we're starting out pretty soon. But yeah, as of now, we haven't really done anything as a team yet. So not really sure how to answer that one.
You got to decorate your dorm, my man. It's looking a little vanilla, but
I got a steel jersey over there. That's my roommate.
That's what I'm talking about, baby. No, but it's wild that you say that, and Duckman and Robert, which I don't think I've ever called him that, but he was just reiterating, it's a little different. Well, there's a perfect example of that. How about you, Ducky? Have you been on the ice at least? What's going on at BU?
Yeah, we've been on the ice a few times, but it's in like small 9-man groups, and it's like we got practice plans, and we kind of just run the practice by ourselves. But I think tomorrow we're starting up on the ice. It's a little bit bigger of a group, but since men's ice hockey is classified as like a close touch, like a level 3, I guess it was in BU's eyes, that we have different stages of when we can really start to fully practice. And I think we're getting to stage 2 now. We've worked out a few times. Just we need to show a green badge every day wherever we're trying to get to a building that shows we're cleared.
Now back to the big boy stuff. NHL draft coming up, and as I mentioned earlier, a series of episodes here at the Chicago Steel. I'm Mark Citron here, Sam Colangelo and Robert Mastrosimone, now Steel alumni. But so Robert, obviously for you, talk a little bit about the just anticipation and the process of the whole thing. Obviously you guys do interviews and all that, but in terms of like the nerves, and explain NHL Draft Weekend and just exactly what you're feeling, and obviously what it was like to hear your name called.
I mean, yeah, it's an unreal experience, obviously, and it's awesome if you're lucky enough to be drafted in the NHL, and it's the whole process in itself is such an amazing, unique process. It's obviously you get the interviews with the teams, and obviously you're going in, you're a little nervous, you're sweating a little bit, you're meeting with all the top dogs of every team or the teams that want to talk to you, and it's just like something you got to get used to because you're going to be doing a lot from now out. And then draft weekend was still one of the most memorable weekends of my life. I mean, started off day one. That was a cool experience, seeing a bunch of my friends being drafted in that first round and watching everyone go up to the stage. That was really cool. And then it's like, all right, you're still like just hanging out with your family and whoever you have at the draft with you. And then it's like day 2 comes around. You're like, obviously your nerves get a little higher. You're like, all right, this could be my day. Like this could be where it all goes down. And hearing your name called over the loudspeaker is just you butterflies, like you get everything, your stomach drops. You're like, oh my gosh, like this is actually happening. It's just such an awesome experience.
Now, I think it's interesting because your generation, even mine, with social media and things like that, how hard, and this goes to both of you guys, we'll go to Sam first just because you've been through it, Ducky, but like how hard is it to ignore, I mean, the media and just like the hype all about it? How difficult is that, Sam? And then Robert can go after.
I wouldn't say, it's like too difficult. Obviously, you see like the rankings and stuff like that. And I kind of try not to think about them too much. Obviously I see them, but maybe if I'm ranked lower than maybe I expect or something, I use it as motivation. But hype around the draft is something that kind of plays into me being excited about it. And obviously I've kind of dreamed to this day since I was, I don't know, 2 or 3 years old. So something I'm excited for. But yeah, I wouldn't say it really weighs too much on me.
How about you, Duckman, Robert? It's hard. But
Yeah, I can agree with pretty much most of the stuff Sam said. It's obviously a little different for him. Or he's been anticipating this all summer, and for me it was like almost right after the season. So I was like kind of focused on just winning with the steal and getting to the next round of the playoffs, or just getting to the next weekend and had practice every day. So I was kind of like not at all focused on the draft, and it just was like the last thing on my mind, which is obviously makes it easier. And in Sam's case, it's something you really got to try and not look at, because you don't want to get like stuff going through your head and kind of get too hard on yourself. And I think it was obviously for me it was easier, but for Sam, he said it was easy for him, so I give him credit for that.
Yeah, during, like you said, during the season, I wasn't thinking about it at all. Like we were playing games every weekend, going to the rink every day, but obviously throughout the summer, like there wasn't really much to do, so it did cross my mind. But yeah, like throughout the season, it was about the team first.
No, I know you just gave a good rundown there, Robert, but what would your best piece of advice be for Sam during the NHL draft? Is there any advice you give him? What would it be?
I think my best advice I could give you, Sam, is just don't worry about when you get drafted or where. Just go and do your part when you go to camp, or when you have time to get on the ice in front of your team or whoever picks you, or just work your hardest, and don't worry about when or where.
Thanks.
And Sam, going back to you, obviously we talked about the long summer and whatnot. Now that there is a tentative date virtually for the NHL draft, what are your thoughts to that as opposed to obviously an in-person draft? I know you probably would prefer in-person, but I don't know. What do you think about that process?
Yeah, obviously, like I was pretty excited to go to Montreal and go to the draft, but no matter where, when, or how it happens, it's going to be a cool day or a couple days. But yeah, obviously, I'd prefer to be there and it be in person, but I'm kind of waiting for like 4 or 5 months now for it. So I think that just kind of getting it over with and having it happen is going to be pretty cool.
Definitely. Sam, who out of your family and friends, if anyone's going to be around you on draft day?
I'm an only child, but my parents, my cousins will be around, and obviously my mom and dad, my grandma, a couple of my aunts, and maybe a couple of my friends. But I'm gonna kind of keep it small and enjoy with people who helped me get there.
Here with Robert Mastrosimone, Sam Colangelo, and they're in the NCAA hockey program. The Duckman, Robert Mastrosimone at BU, and Sam Colangelo at Northeastern. Guys, before we wrap this thing up, what are you looking forward to most about this 2021 season? We'll start with you, Robert.
I think I'm just mostly looking forward to getting back on the ice and playing some games. It's been, 6 months since we've played a game. We got shut down early March, so honestly, just getting back on the ice and going against another team and just getting the adrenaline rush when your team wins. It's really what I miss, and I'm so excited for this year.
Sam, what are you most looking forward to this year?
Yeah, it's pretty new beginning for me. I'm being a freshman. Obviously, I'm excited. I've been committed here for a couple of years, so I'm excited to get on the ice with my teammates and play against guys like Ducky and other guys I know in college hockey will be pretty cool. And Yeah, I think like you said, we haven't. I know for both of us, we probably never gone 6 months without playing a game in our lives. So, I mean, obviously excited to get back on the ice and play some games.
Oh, wait. Robert, you got to tell Sam now about the Beanpot. Because, okay, boy, wait. So, Robert, you got to experience that with fans. How different do you think that's going to be if there's no fans or I don't know.
mean, it was probably one of the best experiences of my life. Granted, the outcome, but it was one of the coolest things ever to see a whole, like, just rows and top of that place just filled with red and white and chant and like your school chants, and it was honestly, Sam being from Boston knows all about it. He knows what it's like to be in to like go to a Beanpot game. He knows what it's like to hear the fans cheering for their school, and it's such an unbelievable experience.
Kidding. Anyways, but I realized, well, the Bull Sharks, so at Harvard, they're out. So I mean, and I can't even get into that stuff, but I guess my last question would be at the NCAA level with the fans, do you think that will make a difference, Robert, in terms of how the guys gain energy? I know we've seen in the NHL playoffs, I think there is some sort of impact, but not really. You guys are athletes. What do you think?
No, I think it's going to be a little different for the first few games. I mean, throughout the whole year, you practice with no fans anyway, so you know what your arena is like when there's no one there. So it's just going to be a lot about making your own energy and just trying to keep the guy next to you going as much as he's trying to get you going. And I think that it's going to play a little bit of, like I said, a little bit of an effect on the guys for the first few games. But the difference between us and the NHL right now is they're playing for they're in the series with the teams playing for the Stanley Cup right now. I think it would be, but I think it's going to be pretty much the same. It's really doesn't affect me much.
Sam, what about you? What about your thoughts on playing in front of maybe no fans?
I mean, obviously, like college hockey is kind of all about the atmosphere and stuff like that. But I mean, us as athletes, like we want to play, we want to win. Especially hockey players, we're super competitive guys. So I think with or without fans, we're going to be giving it the same as if there were fans in the building. But yeah, I mean, I think it'd be cool to have my freshman year with like our fan section and stuff like that. But I mean, once you get on the ice, it's all about winning and helping your team win.
Well, guys, thanks so much for joining us here on our pre-NHL draft synopsis. Sam Colangelo expected to be taken at some point on the NHL draft. So, hey, enjoy every day that goes by. Glad that you have a date. And I hope to see you guys on the ice. For Robert Mastrosimone, the Duckman. Thanks for coming on. Sam Colangelo here with us, former Chicago Steel alumni. Thanks so much, fellas. I hope to see you back on the ice soon.
No problem. Thanks, Mark.
All right, Mark Citron saying, Buenos noches. See you soon, Steel fans.